Hey guys, it's Anime Caveman, and today I'm going to be reading the 29th episode of Captain Tsubasa. And I gotta say, this episode, the new opening is hype as fuck. And it's pretty cool how in the opening, like there are some scenes that look straight off out of a manga with all the detail, but they're super fluid and they're moving, and I was like, oh, I love that kind of shit. So that's a positive about the episode. And then the voice of the opening was so gar. I loved it. So already the second opening is way better than the first. And then even the ending song. I would say even though the ending song wasn't as good as the first ending song of Captain Tsubasa, it was still great. But overall, I'd say the opening and ending themes for this second season are like way better because the opening is just that amazing. And now, moving on to other stuff about this episode, I gotta say, this episode does a great job of fleshing out all the personalities in Akatsuki SC that we didn't really get to see in the first season of Captain Tsubasa. Because Urube, we never really got to see any of that feistiness in the first few episodes of the series. And now I like how when he's finally shown to have more of a prominent role because they're setting up to be Izizaki's rival, he has that kind of like swagger that we didn't see before. And looking at it from a narrative standpoint, it was a great idea to split up some of the Nakatsuki SC members because now, for one, Urabe and Ishizaki, if they would have been on the same team, it would have been repetitive because they're both confrontational people, and it would have been kind of stale to have two characters with like the same personality in the same team or kind of similar. So I like that because now it leads into hilarious dialogue situations whenever these two butt heads with each other. So that's a positive from a writing standpoint. And then I like how this episode simultaneously characterizes how much of a different person Tsubasa is because it was nice to see how he's much more mature mentally, and then whenever there's like a shove, now Tsubasa reacts with like ferocity, like when he was pretty much training with the Nakatsuki members in his school, he was training the fuck out of them in order to like motivate them, and now it shows Tsubasa as a much more assertive leader because that wouldn't be something that Tsubasa would have done at a younger age until all the experiences he went through, like playing against people like Hyuga and Misugi, and now seeing more Tsubasa, more grown up and more mentally strong was just such a beautiful thing to see. I was like, yes! Especially when he even told people like Kasugi how they're open and all that. I like that. Because for one, it's gonna make these the preliminaries feel like they have much more weight now that Otomo Middle School has. For one, they got some Nakatsuki SC members that helped Tsubasa win the championship, and now they have this guy called Nita who helped Nakatsuki SC after Tsubasa and Wakabashi left to win a championship. And they even have this Uber goalie. And I like that because it's going to make for some emotional setup in this match. Having people from like Nakatsuki SC from like two different championship years face off against each other. So that's also another positive about the episode. It gets me pumped up. And then I like how this episode increases emotional tension by having the dialogue where Tsubasa's talking to this individual where he's telling them Brazil's interested in you, but you gotta show out and you also gotta pretty much do your best to play so that you can help put Japan on top when it comes to football. And I like that because it gives this anime a global perspective. It isn't just limited to Japan, it's the world that Tsubasa's kind of aiming for, because that's a great goal to aspire towards, and that's going to make this anime much more interesting. At least that's what it feels like this anime is setting up. So good shit all around from this episode, giving us emotional stakes. And as for other stuff that I really liked about this episode is I like how you even have Tsubasa try to learn Portuguese so that it'll be easier for him when he transitions into Brazil. And it was nice to hear that the Football Federation is gonna help out Tsubasa too. So that was some good shit. I loved it. And yeah, that was overall a great episode. And then them introducing Nita, I was like, yes, this dude is a fucking beast. He's got that young blood, Hyuga-like strength. And I like his swagger too. So it's going to be nice to see this boy perform and play once they do get set up against Nakatsuki in a football match. And it was also nice to see Sane go through some character development too. She's got more of a feminine personality, and it was nice how the Ishizaki even joked about it, saying how she went from bossy to a maiden because she fell in love. So I like how even though it's in the middle school arc, they can still put in some humorous jokes here and there. And it's nice to see Tsubasa determined again to win, to train, and it's such a beautiful thing. And that's why, putting all this into consideration, I'm going to give this episode, normally I give these type of episodes a 7 out of 10, but I'm going to give it a brand spanking 8 out of 10 because of the opening and ending themes. And it did so much right. It upped the stakes a bit. It also upped the stakes implicitly because at this point, yeah, they want to set up Tsubasa as like top of the top in Brazil so that Japan can grow as a football nation in the episode. They did a great job of implying that. They're already setting up how Toho Academy is going to be strong with Swada joining Hyuga's team, and they did a good job of showing how overpowered Nita is when he scored a ball from like far away, and at the same time when he was able to make Tsubasa's leg numb for a bit. It did a great job of just building up for future events, and pretty much these are my thoughts on the episode. Oh, and the animation was fucking good. And the music was pretty nice too, the placement. I'm glad that they used one of the tracks that we got in the Meiwa versus Nakatsuki SC episode when they had the track go when they were circling Tsubasa. That shit was lit, and that's what really made this episode powerful. So anyways guys, these are my thoughts on the episode. Comment on your thoughts in the comment section below. Rate the video, subscribe for more reviews if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys next week. And as for the live reactions, couldn't get it done because of time constraints, but I'll see if I can get them in on next week. Alright guys, have a great and safe day. Bye bye.